I don't like to use words like fascist or traitor to describe anybody, as I feel that that kind of language is incendiary. But when it comes to Donald Trump, he really is laying his cards on the table now. Post his conviction, now that he is a felon, he just doesn't really care anymore. And to describe the world and the United States' position in it in a way that is so clearly fascistic and traitorous, it's important to really listen to who he is and what he really means.
I talk about the enemy on the outside and the enemy from within. So you have Russia, you have China, but if you have a smart president, you always handle him. Quite easily, actually. We have a lot of advantages. But the enemy from within, they are doing damage to this country.
Referring to Russia and China as the enemy on the outside, but trying to make the point that the enemy from within is more dangerous. And of course, he's referring to anybody who doesn't support him, as well as Joe Biden and the Democrats. And to refer to the opposition as the enemy in politics is entirely fascistic. He talks about the enemy outside as being something that he can handle, but the enemy from within being more dangerous. And that in itself is very dangerous, because treason is something that, it's not a word that people really use to describe politicians. I don't really see Donald Trump as a politician anymore. I now see him as a convicted felon who is on the run from the authorities, on the run from his supposed enemies, but mainly on the run from the American people, because he's never going to be legitimately elected. He is not popular. He hasn't won anything since 2016. He's on the run from the authorities because he knows that there are so many cases, legal cases, that are against him, that are upcoming, which is why he's seeking a blanket immunity from the Supreme Court, that he really needs to keep running.
And, they have misinformation. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. It's just words. He doesn't even know what it means. But it's like their slogan, I'm a threat to democracy. I'm the opposite. They're the threat to democracy.
Running for president is something that he's doing only because he can potentially pardon himself and keep himself out of jail. And is that really the kind of person you want running the free world and being arguably the most powerful political leader on the planet? It's a very dangerous notion, the idea that somebody who is so volatile, so compromised, so in bed with the foes of America, especially Putin, especially North Korea, where he feels like, these people are the only people that really understand him. That is very worrying. He's spoken in a similar way about Viktor Orban of Hungary, who has, time and time again lurched further and further to the right, removing people's rights, and especially the rights of women and LGBTQ people, and when it comes to religion as well. This is something that Trump and the likes of Orban are very into. It's our religion or no religion as far as they're concerned. And I think that really this far-right Christian nationalism that is rising around the world, but certainly harnessed here in America by somebody who is entirely ungodly. Donald Trump just recognizes that kind of evangelical Christian vote is of great value to him, so he has pretended that he's interested. Meanwhile, he can't quote a Bible verse. He clearly doesn't know or understand the teachings of Christianity, and instead is having sex with porn stars against their will. So we need to really get our heads around which direction the US should be going in. And for Joe Biden's offering, it is one of honesty, transparency, and inclusivity. And that really is the thing that, for me, you might not like the candidate, you might think Biden is too much of this or too much of that, but you're not really voting for Joe Biden. You're voting for Democrats and a celebration of democracy. And that is not something that Donald Trump is offering. His offering is very much about restriction, removing your rights, the rights of women, the rights of gay people, the rights of trans people, the rights of black people and brown people and Asian people, anybody who is not white male, a Christian, and a Republican stands to lose out. But not just those groups. Actually, the working poor, the people who are giving their last few dimes to Donald Trump, whether they're buying his stock or, just sending him $5 or $10 for his campaign, they will not benefit from Trump's presidency either. Because, like the evangelical vote, these are the people that he is using so that he, again, can pay his legal fees, curry favor with foreign dignitaries, and finally, it's about enriching himself and his wealthy friends and connections. So things like deregulation of industries that are regulated specifically to keep us safe. We expect the government to step in and do the right thing so that you can drink clean water and not fear pollution in your local river. These are fundamental, basic human rights, not something that Donald Trump subscribes to. And also climate change, which is a subject that I feel like America has had to really just put on pause for a little bit whilst they focus on extinguishing the rise of Christo-fascism. If you're planning on a future living on this planet, I don't know, maybe you have plans to relocate to another planet like Elon Musk. But if you're planning on living out your future on planet Earth, then you really need to get behind a candidate who takes climate change seriously and has policies that are designed to protect the planet and those of us living on it. So Donald Trump, once again, he's backed into a corner. He is in an entirely fascist environment here on Fox, where he has friendly interviewers who are politically on his team, who are softballing him questions and feeding him questions, and him just being allowed to say whatever he wants and get away with it. That environment is a dictatorial environment. That kind of fake news channel that really is designed to promote Donald Trump and his extremist policies. Exactly the same as you see in Russia or in China with state-run television that is designed to give the supreme leader a kind of clear run at propaganda. So, the decision is down to you. I don't get to vote, but you do. And consider Joe Biden's infamous quote, "Don't judge me by the almighty, judge me by the alternative."
But the enemy from within, they are doing damage to this country.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.